How many of you have recently experienced a day when your whole life from morning until night became a series of interruptions? You started with a great to-do list with clear priorities. You staggered your calendar with appointments, building in ample time to take a breath and eat lunch. And then the whole list got postponed until the next day. Or worse, your day was scrambled all to hell. During this past 15 months, we've probably all experienced days like this. In this week's portion from Mark's Gospel, two people in great distress interrupt and scramble Jesus' day. This is a pattern that already started earlier in the Gospel. Peter interrupts Jesus at prayer. A leper trips up Jesus while he's preaching in the synagogue. A paralytic interrupts Jesus as he speaks the word. Today, Jairus falls at the feet of Jesus with a desperate plea for his 12-year-old daughter. As a synagogue leader, Jairus is regarded as a dignified member in the community. But in an act of faith, he interrupts and begs Jesus repeatedly to come and lay his hands on his daughter. His interjection into Jesus' day and his prayer are that the power of divine healing will come about for his daughter through this itinerant rabbi. As Jesus makes a beeline over to Jairus' home, a woman butts her way through the crowd and touches one of the tassels that Jesus, a devout Jew, wears on his outer robe. She has been suffering from some kind of gynecological hemorrhage for 12 years. She sees Jesus as her last best hope for finding wholeness. She has heard of his reputation as a healer and boundary breaker, and she shares the ancient view that the healer's own person is so potent that his clothing or even his shadow can radiate that healing power. A deep desire for healing motivates both persons to interrupt Jesus' plans for this day. Jairus approaches Jesus driven by the concern for the life of his daughter. The woman comes to Jesus out of a desperate desire to have wholeness and to be fully restored back into the community. Friends, we do not know what Jesus had planned initially for this particular day. But the unfolding story seems to say to me, jug handle, recalculation. People in need block his path, stop him in his tracks, scramble his schedule, and interrupt his day. As the personified on-the-ground expression of the heart of God, Jesus embraces the interruptions and rearranges his schedule to attend to the human need there. We see no flash of anger at being interrupted, no ranting over what will have to be postponed for another day, no hand-wringing over the best laid plans going down the toilet. We can surely imagine the desperate impatience of Jairus when Jesus stops to take care of the woman who sneaks up from behind in the crowd. A little girl is dying, yet Jesus stops to ask a question which the disciples thought was ridiculous. Jesus, sensitive to the Father's anguish and impatience, might have plowed on. He might have been content with the knowledge that the woman was healed, but he took the time needed for the next project, for the next opportunity to touch Jairus' daughter. The interruptions within this story offer food for thought to us busy people in the 21st century. Could it be that many of our daily interruptions, especially as they have to do with intersections of human need, are revelations or nudges from God? Could it be that precisely within the interruptions we have the most likely opportunity to partner with God in the great work of restoring wholeness to the world? It might behoove us today to listen again to the words of my New Testament professor, Dr. Charles Siegel, who offered these words of wisdom in one of my impatient moments as a seminary student many years ago. And I quote, "Dan, you know, my whole life I have been complaining that my ministry was constantly interrupted. One day, it finally dawned on me that my interruptions are my ministry." I will never forget his Christ-like ministry to me in my eagerness to interrupt his day